Well everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the Google Pixel 9 and compare it against the Google Pixel 7a and see which particular phone is a better one for you. Now I will probably tell you in every single way possible, the Google Pixel 9 is a significantly better phone that you can probably imagine. The Pixel 9 is one of those phones that's very good, I love that phone a lot, and I do think that is one of those devices that probably means a lot more to me than the Pixel 7a, but I think the 7a is still a very decent phone. It still has a lot of stuff going for it too. And if you're going to go through and buy a phone, it probably would make a lot of sense to buy something like a Pixel 7a. So go ahead, if you want to pick up either one of these phones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these phones, the Pixel 7a, which came out back in 2023, on the front of this phone has a 6.1-inch OLED display. It's a 90Hz panel, and I do think a phone like this looks pretty good, right? I still think this phone looks really, really good and holds up fairly well. And I do think this in and of itself, once again, is a very, very nice thing going on for this type of device. With something like the Pixel 7a, it's giving you a pretty good display. It's a 90Hz panel though, so it's not 120Hz, but I still think 90Hz is very, very good for the most part. And if you're going to go and buy a phone, it's really not that terrible of an experience. You know, I think it holds up fairly well for whatever you're going to throw at it. But keep in mind, it is a cheaper phone, so it's not going to be like this super expensive flagship that the Pixel 9 Pro is. But the Pixel 9, you're getting a 6.3-inch OLED display. So this one, I think is a very good looking display. I think it looks very, very good. It's 120 Hz. It gets significantly brighter than the Pixel 7a. Like the 9 gets 2700 nits of brightness, which is massive. And it's a same resolution pretty much for the most part. But you are going to be getting a very, very good phone in front of something like the Pixel 9. I think the 7a's panel is still pretty good for the most part. But the Pixel 9 here is definitely significantly better, I would say, in a majority of ways. So from that side, I think that kind of covers it up on the front side. On the bottom, you're getting USB Type-C ports on both. The Pixel 7a's sides are like a little bit more curved, with the Pixel 9 sides are a little bit more flat. So it is really nice having that type of stuff on the Pixel 9 because it does give you that type of capability there, which is really, really nice. On the back side, you're getting this plastic back actually on the Pixel 7a, which feels like almost like a glass back. Like it is kind of crazy how good of a job Google did with the plastic on the back of the 7a. Like I'm feeling the 7a right now. And if you would have told me this was glass, I would have kind of believed you. Like it does kind of feel like it a little bit. On the Pixel 9, this is a standard glass back, and when you hold both in the hand, you can actually kind of tell that both of them are actually like a little bit, a little different, but still not that big of a difference as you probably would have expected. You're getting a dual camera setup inside of both, which is really nice to see. Having a dual camera setup, which is really cool. Beyond that though, there's not really anything else super crazy going on for either one of these phones. Like I feel like both of them are very good, but you are getting the overall more of a flagship phone inside of the Pixel 9 than the Pixel 7a. Like with the Pixel 9, you're getting things like, reverse wireless charging, you're getting a 120 Hz display, you're getting a bigger size battery. Those types of things are going to be more of a flagship thing than something like the Pixel 7a, which was tailored to be somewhat of like a flagship phone when it kind of came down to it. So that right there was like a one kind of big thing to kind of keep in mind when it comes down to this particular device, when it kind of comes down to it. So once again, not the biggest deal in the world, but just one of those things to keep in mind. Now on top of that, when it comes down to the price tags, the Pixel 9 is right now like $800. The Pixel 7a on Amazon is like $230. So definitely, once again, a little bit of a difference when it comes down to the overall, price tag standpoint of both these devices as well. So that right there, once again, is just another big thing to keep in mind here too. Now, some other stuff to keep in mind. When you're going to go through and pick up a phone, something like the Google Pixel 7a with its camera, it wasn't supposed to be like this big flagship. It was supposed to be like a cheaper kind of somewhat budget phone. The Pixel 7a for the most part is giving you this 64 megapixel wide then a 13 megapixel ultra-wide camera, where the Pixel 9 is giving you a 50 megapixel wide then a 48 megapixel ultra-wide camera. So technically lower megapixel wide angle camera on the Pixel 9 than the Pixel 7a. You're getting 4K at 30 on the front of the Pixel 7a and the 4K at 60 on the front of the 7a, whereas on the Pixel 9 it's 4K at 60 on the front and the back. So it is kind of nice having that type of capability on something like the Pixel 9 where it's just like that type of resolution that you can film in with the frame rate. So that is a very nice thing to have. But I would probably say if you're looking at both these phones are good. They're good cameras, but definitely the Pixel 9 is going to be the significantly better one here. with something like the Pixel 9, this is one of those things that I look at and I'm like very, very happy with that type of camera. And this is going to be the future of these types of lenses. This is where Google's going to spend basically all their money, all their focus is to go ahead and improve that type of camera. So I can't blame them. I think it's a really good idea. And I do think with the features they added, like AdMe and all those other things, it's a very, very good type of camera lens when it kind of comes down to it. So again, although it's not perfect, I still think it's a very good type of, phone when it kind of comes down to it from a performance perspective. So from that side, I think that kind of covers it up there for the most part. Now, in terms of software longevity, this is also going to be one of those things to kind of keep in mind here too, because from a software side, a phone like the Google Pixel 9 is going to be lasting for a significantly longer amount of time than the Pixel 7a. Like the Pixel 7a has already been out for a year, but it's based off a phone that was there for like a year before. So a phone like the Pixel 7a is not really going to be lasting that long. So we're kind of stuck here in this situation where like this type of camera is not really going to be lasting, or this type of phone is not going to be lasting for as long as the Pixel 9. And I'd probably say the Pixel 7a maybe has like another like 2 versions of Android. So that's kind of one thing to kind of keep in mind here when it kind of comes down to it. Versus on the Pixel 9, you're getting like another 7 years of software updates on this phone, which is massive. So I think if you're going to go and buy a phone, that type of phone with that type of software is super, super important to have. And I feel like that in and of itself is another very nice thing going on here too. So if you're going to go through and buy a phone, I love the Pixel 9. I think that phone's going to be lasting for a longer period of time here. And it does make a lot more sense to go and buy a phone like the Pixel 9 than the Pixel 7a. So from a software perspective, that kind of covers it up there as well. Now, finally, when it comes down to the performance side of both these phones, the Pixel 9 is going to be giving you that Google Tensor G4 chipset inside with 12 gigabytes of RAM, where the Pixel 7a is going to be giving you that Tensor G2 chipset inside with 8 gigabytes of RAM. So if you're going to go through and buy a phone, it probably makes a lot more sense to go ahead and buy a phone like the Pixel 9, especially from a performance perspective. But I still think that a phone like the Pixel 7a is still actually a pretty decent performing device. Like a phone like the Pixel 7a is still going to be giving you a lot of capability, a lot of quality, and even with 8 gigabytes of RAM, that's still a lot of RAM to have inside of a device, right? Like it's not like a small amount of RAM, like it's still pretty decent. So I do think from that side as well, like that's a very, very big thing. And I do think from that side, that's just one of those big things to kind of keep in mind here. So again, although it's not the biggest deal in the world, it is just one of those things that if you're going to go buy a phone, the Pixel 9 here is probably going to be the better one from a performance perspective when it kind of comes down to it. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. And if you're going to go through and buy a phone, I'm going to be honest, it makes a lot of sense in my personal opinion. If you're going to go through and buy a phone, I definitely do like a phone like the Pixel 9, right? This one is the one that I'd recommend the average person to go and buy. And this is the type of device that if I'm going to look at, this is the phone that I recommend people to buy. Like this is a very, very good phone. The Pixel 7a, I think is still a good phone. I think it still has a lot of stuff going for it, but I don't know if this is necessarily the phone that's better. And I can name like 3 phones that are better than the Pixel 7a that I would recommend buying more, like the Pixel 8, the Pixel 8 Pro, even the Pixel 7 and 7 Pro are better than the Pixel 7a, and they're kind of around the same price. Like it's not like as big of a difference as you might expect. So in terms of that, I think that kind of covers it up there for the most part. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.